Okay, so today we going to start this book reading session or book discussion series 1.0, meaning to say the first. So where is it? All right, so basically we are going to read this book, okay, written by almarhum Prof. Kamal Hassan. I hope you can see it. Previously, I have conducted this book reading sessions on this book, but we stopped because of uh, we changed some administrative duties back then. So now we are continuing the session again. We are starting the session again. So inshallah, we're going to do this uh, fortnightly. Actually, every week. Every week you can go. We will blast. We will VM the WhatsApp messages. All right. Every week on Friday, inshallah, we are going to have this such series of book readings. Okay. So for this week, it is for this black book. Okay, we call it as the black book because the color is black, but actually it is the moderation book. All right. So the previous week, okay, on last Friday, the book reading session was conducted by Dr. Jannah, Nur Jannah. She is the head, okay, the head of Scholars Channel for Centris. She read the other almarhum books, the other book. Uh, Mainly the book is on the title is Salam Kasih, right? It is in Malay, collection of poems written by almarhum, right? So for me, I'm going to read this black book, and there will be another book, right? The red book, uh, the book on corruption, written also by almarhum Prof Kamal. Okay, never mind. On for the schedule, inshallah later we will let you know. So meaning to say we are doing it uh, uh, after we are reading, after we finish this session, we are going to read another book. Right? It means we change. Okay. This week we read the black book. Next week, Dr. Jannah is going to read the other book. There will be another book on natural science. And after that, I'm going to read the book on corruption, and then we're going to continue with this book again. So meaning to say, this black book, we are going to read it uh, once in every month. Right? We are going to continue. We are not going to finish the whole book in one day. In fact, it is a very thick book. All right, meaning to say, it will be a continuous session, inshallah. All right, until we finish the whole book. Okay, so today we're going to simply, okay, we are going to discuss only the introductory part of the book. All right. Hopefully we can finish. If not, we will continue in the next session. So the introduction to the voice. Okay, the title of the book is The Voice of Islamic Moderation from the Malay World. Actually, I'm not that used looking to this kind of screen. Usually I can see you at the same time. I can see the slides, right? But never mind. I try. Okay. So the book is actually published in 2011. All right, it is published in 2011. We will see there are certain events that led for almarhum to write this book. All right, it is published by the Emir Research printing, okay, in print. All right. So the book written here in the first page, I humbly dedicate this book to my beloved parents, Haji Hassan, Haji Ismail, and Hajah Cik Fatimah bin Ahmed, who have departed from this transient world and returned to the mercy of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. So dedication to Almarhum's late parents. All right. So the session will be like this. I'm going to read the text. All right. I'm going to read all the text without missing any of the text, because I think every word written by Almarhum, every word is very important. All right. We should not omit anything. So I will explain after I have read. Then I will explain based on my own understanding. All right. By the way, I'm from political science. Yes, I'm with centuries right now, but my background is from political science. I'm with the Department of Political Science. So I will explain the text from that perspective. All right, political science perspective. So meaning to say, I may be lacking uh, in terms of other perspectives. All right. I will try my best to whatever that I have in my limited knowledge to explain based on yeah, my what I have in my mind. All right. So meaning to say, if you have any inputs, all right, you are most welcome to share. Inshallah, perhaps after the session, we will have a little uh, we'll have a few minutes perhaps on Q&A, or it is not really a Q&A, I mean to say sharing moment, all right? Because this is a book discussion program. Okay, so for the introduction, okay, this is the introduction. Okay, before that, I'm going to inform you that the book is actually consists of one, two, three parts. All right, consists of three parts, and each part has chapters. Okay, meaning to say chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4, all of them actually are part part of the chapter 1. Okay, part of chapter 1, part of part 1, part of part 1. So I'm explaining it to you because the book it has quite in-depth structure. All right, so part 1 consists of 4 chapters, part 2 consists of 3 chapters, part 3 consists of another 4 chapters, right? Altogether 11 chapters. Okay, we have 11 chapters uh, that are separated with different parts, okay, by different parts. All right, so today we are only going to, inshallah, talk about the introductory part. Okay, meaning to say before we enter part 1. All right. Okay, so bismillah. So all of these are again the words of Almarhum, right? And then I'm going to explain based on my own understanding. Okay, where is it? Participants. Okay, so this is a book written by an independent and non-partisan Muslim Malay academic, mainly for a non-Muslim audience in mind, either in Malaysia or overseas. Okay, so okay, we can see here as early as the first sentence, Almarhum already stated his stance. Okay, I think this is a good practice. Okay, when we write, sometimes we do not stated our stance, right? But here, Almarhum already stated this is a book written by an independent and non-partisan Muslim Malay academic, meaning to say he is a non-partisan scholar, right? Uh, So it is also addressed, so it is the audience, okay? Here Almarhum mentioned that the audience are the targeted audience mainly for non-Muslim audience, right? Either in our country, Malaysia, or abroad. Okay, so it is quite a unique book because the focus in his mind was to address non-Muslim audience. It is also addressed to the Muslim leaders, intelligentsia, professionals, and students who are interested in the issue of peaceful coexistence of the Muslim world and the West. Okay, uh, meaning to say, yes, the focus is for the non-Muslims, but also it is also actually uh, the intention was to address Muslim leaders, right, and intellectuals, professionals, and also students. Those who are interested in the issue of peaceful coexistence, meaning to say how we should live harmoniously together within the Ummah, right, and also with other people, okay, and the West, right. It consists of 11 essays which were written in the light of the challenges of globalization and a post-September 11 new world order, right, which has set the stage for a heightened global tension between the Western world and the world of Islam. So the book is actually a collection, all right, a collection of essays, 11 essays to be exact. And these essays were actually written as response, okay, as to respond to the event that happened at that moment. All right, as mentioned, the book is published in 2011. Okay, so to respond to this very huge event happened, okay, 9/11. We call it as the 9/11. All right, during the attack on the World Trade Center in the United States. All right. So what happened after that? As mentioned by Almarhum, Muslims, we face these, okay, challenges of globalization and also this post-September New World Order, right? Post-September 11 New World Order, the new of governance happened throughout the world. After that, that uh, that was not that that produced challenges to the Muslims. Okay, so the book represents a third Muslim perspective. Again, here we can see Almarhum is trying to stating his stand, okay, again, namely that of independent Muslim intelligentsia in contemporary Malaysia, the other two being the pro-government and pro-opposition perspective. Meaning to say, uh, he actually represents, okay, the book is actually represents the third perspective or the third sphere, meaning to say not the government cannot from the governmental sides or not, and also, okay, either from the neither from the pro government side nor from the pro opposition sides, all right. So the so called neutral perspective, okay. As a country practicing parliamentary democracy with a multi-party system since 1955, Malaysia has developed the three perspectives for many decades now. But the most popular perspectives are the pro-government and the pro-opposition because of their politically oriented nature and their strong emotional appeal to their respective constituencies, followers, supporters, and the general public. All right, so here Almarhum mentioned that Malaysia so far we have three perspectives. All right. Number one, again, the pro-government perspective. Number two, the pro-opposition's perspective. And these two perspectives, according to him, of course, they are politically oriented, and therefore they have strong emotional attachment towards their perspectives, all right, opinions, because they have to consider about their followers, supporters, and also the general public. So the book, inshallah, according to Almarhum, is bringing this third perspective, all right? Uh, which is not from the opposition side and also from the pro-governmental side. So the non-partisan academic perspectives to which the present writer belongs, okay, he meant him, right, tries to be more objective and less emotional. Okay, therefore, according to Almarhum, if we adopt this stance, right, we can become less emotional. Okay, and therefore we can become more objective because we are not being influenced by uh, other interests, right? Sometimes very self-critical, and therefore we can also do for perhaps our own muhasabah, right? More so when the audience is non-Muslim, Western educated, or made up of international intelligentsia, right? So this is very useful. According to him, if we adopt this stance, then it has a number of benefits, right? So the main focus of this book is the subject of Islamic moderation, or in Arabic, al-wasatiyah, based on the teachings of the Quran and elaborated by authoritative religious scholarship. Okay, so the focus of this book, again, as mentioned in its title, moderation. Okay, sometimes we simply call it as the moderation book, right? Uh, So the focus will be on moderation. Okay. So Almarhum, he said that he's going to explain it from the, okay, based on the teachings of the Quran and from the teachings of uh, the ulama. Right? So in view of the existence of a variety of interpretations regarding the term moderation, okay, it is important that an Islamic perspective and definition of moderation be understood by Muslims as well as non-Muslims, irrespective of whether they agree or not with the definition. Right here we can see how Almarhum, he clearly again stated his stance without hesitancy. Okay, I'm going to explain the concept, okay, moderation, based from Islamic perspective, okay, irrespective of whether the audience agree or not with my definition. Okay. So the academic input into the popular or political discourse on moderation from the Islamic perspective is necessary contribution. Okay, so it is necessary to do this insofar as it helps the public to differentiate between the correct and the incorrect perceptions or understanding of the concept, because he felt that it is important to explain this, uh, to explain the concept from the correct perspective, all right? Because there are many incorrect definitions, okay, of the concepts according to Almarhum, all right? Because moderation, maybe we can think about, yeah, it is a quite loose concept, right? You can moderation, or maybe moderation, we can do whatever that we can as long as we are in the middle of it, right? So that's why he thought that it is important to explain it from the Islamic perspective. So the voice of Islamic moderation coming from contemporary Malaysia is a reflection of the Malaysian milieu, in which Islamic thought has been nurtured in a multi-ethnic society in which Muslims, though in the majority, have lived and coexisted with non-Muslims of various ethnic and religious groups in peace and harmony. All right. So not only from the Islamic perspective, Almarhum is also going to explain it from the Malaysian perspective, all right, wherein we have Malay Muslims as the majority, but we live with other non-Muslims in the country in peaceful manner, right? In harmonious relation. Okay, even though we have different ethnic and religious groups. All right, it is actually a reflection of this, a reflection of our ability to live together harmoniously, okay, since independence, perhaps. All right, so meaning to say, moderation is always there. Okay, Malaysia is a unique Muslim majority country in which political power is shared among the major ethnic groups, but the Muslim Malays have been the major power holders. So according to almarhum, we are unique. Okay, a Muslim majority country, but the political power is shared among the major ethnic groups. Okay, but yes, the Muslim Malays have been the major power in the position of power. Okay, economic power though has been and still is largely in the hands of the Chinese community. Okay, the Chinese community, they are dominant in the economic sphere. The conventional economic system is still dominant, but the Islamic banking, insurance, and pawnbroking systems are becoming very popular as Muslims look for alternatives to riba-based institutions. So during this moment, right, when he wrote these essays, okay, Islamic banking already became popular, all right? Islamic banking systems or finance. Okay, so Muslims, Malay Muslims, okay, at that moment already uh, went for Islamic banking system as an alternative to the conventional financial system. All right. So therefore, Malaysia is fast becoming a leading center of Islamic banking and finance. So I think almarhum, why all of a sudden he talk about Islamic banking and finance uh, point here, right? Because perhaps he wanted to explain about because he wanted to explain about the economic situation, okay, at that moment in Malaysia. Yes, we had at that moment we had conventional banking, but we also already had the Islamic alternatives, okay, of that financial system. So politically, the system allows for secular-based opposition parties. Okay, so Malaysian politics, the political system allows uh, secular-based opposition parties, and also a strong Islamically based opposition party, okay, which has defeated government parties in several elections and is still in control of two states in Malaysia. So now he is explaining about the political situation at that moment. All right. So the political system of Malaysia at that moment, of course, until today, allows for secular-based opposition parties. I think this one, from my humble understanding, he was talking about DAP perhaps, okay, the secular-based opposition parties, as well as a strong Islamically based opposition party. I think for this one, the strong Islamically based opposition party, he was referring to PAS, okay, still in control of two states in Malaysia. Back then, I think PAS controlled Kelantan and Terengganu, right? But nowadays, PAS got three, right? Three states. So this democratic setup has molded a national culture which makes political or religious extremism unpopular and uncalled for. Okay, so according to him, because of this democratic background, okay, democratic backdrop of our political system that we have, this actually prevents any attempts of terrorism, okay, in the name of religion, for example. All right. Uh, so this is good according to almarhum. All right, because this created a national culture. Okay, the national culture uh, that does not prone to extremism. The winning formula for all communities has always been one in which there is a realistic recognition of the pluralistic nature of the nation and the need to balance between the particular interests of a community and the larger interests of national stability. So we, okay, we Malaysians, we have this realistic recognition of our differences, okay, pluralistic nature of us. Okay, we have different cultures, we have different languages, right? And this actually the recognition of our own identity, at the same time the recognition of the public interest, okay, this has led to national stability. Okay, have led to national stability, national security, and also our national well-being, without stepping beyond the limits of freedom as provided for in the constitution of the nation. So we do this without transgressing or without breaking the constitution, okay, provided for us. Yes, we have freedom, but we do not step on other people's toe. Okay. Therefore, the voice of moderation is the preferred voice, even within the Muslim community, which unfortunately has been pulled in opposite directions throughout its contemporary history, beginning from the early 50s. Okay, so this actually signifies that we have this concept, okay, moderation within us, okay, within the society. But unfortunately, this concept has been pulled in opposite directions with throughout its contemporary period, beginning from the early 50s. Okay, perhaps what were the challenges? Maybe Almarhum he explained further here. The image of Islam and Muslims unfortunately has been tarnished and demonized in the world today, especially after the September 11 tragedy, right? 2001. So the book published 2011, 10 years after the tragedy. So Muslims, at starting from that moment, right? Our image uh, uh, has been tarnished and demonized, right? Stereotypes created everywhere. Muslims are terrorists, right? Consequently, Islam and the Muslims are associated in the minds of Westerners and non-Muslims with the act of violence, right? Exploiting women, denying human rights, and religious extremism, ta'assub, etc. All right. So according to him, that's the stereotypes that we have until perhaps until today. All right. Mm. The war on terror, the so-called war on terror, unleashed by the White House under President Bush, and the militant responses of Muslim groups, together with the intransigence and injustices of the Zionist regime on the people of Palestine, have heightened global tension and sparked serious international crises with far-reaching consequences in both the West and the Muslim world. So the war on terror produced by the hegemonic United States, okay, under President Bush, and its militant responses, and the militant responses from the Muslim groups, right? So the Muslim groups, the terrorists, right, they respond through militancy, right? And what's more, we have this problem, right? The Zionist regime oppressing the people of Palestine. Okay, all of this have heightened global tension, all right, in both worlds, the Western world and the Muslim world. Okay, so we can see here at this moment, Almarhum, he talked about, of course, the issue of Palestine, right? He concerned about the issues faced by the Palestinian, right? As a concerned Muslim Malay academic, meaning to say him, Almarhum, as a concerned Muslim Malay academic who has lived in America as a postgraduate student at Columbia University, New York for 7 years, okay, 68 until 75, and a visiting professor at Georgetown University, Washington, D.C. for 2 years, 97, 99, and he also traveled widely in the Muslim world. we felt the need. So we can see here he used we, okay? Meaning to say how humble he was in explaining, in trying to present his ideas. So he used we. We felt the need to explain Islam to non-Muslim elites outside of Malaysia as well as in Malaysia. All right. So this is a little bit of his background. He was at the Columbia University for 7 years, 68, 75. So I'm not sure, maybe people who know about this maybe can add more later, all right? Because we know almarhum's ideas are, are free, meaning to say free from colonial concepts, right? Uh, so at this moment, if I'm not mistaken, Edward Said was also there. Okay? Edward Said, the uh, prominent thinker in post-colonial studies, right? Perhaps maybe influencing a bit, wallahu alam, right? So we, again, he used we purposely chose to address and converse with the Western educated and middle class non-Muslims who read and communicate in English. Again, he is explaining about the audience of the book, okay, that he was trying to talk to, because they have been exposed the most to the Western thought and the biased Western perspectives on Islam and Muslims. So he was trying to explain, okay, we more or less, perhaps in simple words, we are not like this, okay, we are not terrorists, all right, this is our concept, moderation, okay, this is what it actually mean. Okay? It is important to our mind that this group be made to understand mainstream Muslim thought and the discourse of moderation from Islamic perspective. Okay? Therefore, again, it is important to explain to them what is actually the meaning of moderation and why we have been following this. All right? Why we are practicing moderation. Thus, the 11 essays compiled in this book were written to fulfill that goal, right? And 4 of them were actually read before non-Muslims in Malaysia as well as in USA, Japan, and China. So 4 of the articles are actually already being read, okay, by him to audiences in USA, Japan, and China. Okay. It is our hope that Westerners, okay, Westerners in general, and non-Muslims in Malaysia would be able to appreciate the Islamic path of moderation that those essays try to project, and that the relationship with Muslims would remain cordial and harmonious in spite of the negative stereotyping and prejudices against Islam in the mainstream Western media. Okay, so again, he wrote this book as a response. Okay, the essays actually as responses to to these negative stereotypes, right? And prejudices against the Muslims projected by the Western media. Okay, so now in part one, okay, now he is explaining briefly the structure of the book. In part one, we project the resurgence of world religions as a positive development in light of the secularizing tendencies of globalization and the hegemonizing trend of the secular forces behind the new world order. All right. So in part one, we will see that Almarhum, he explained about the importance of religions, okay, world religions, not only Islam, but also other religions, because according to him, we will see that this is very important, all right, for us to have at least, yeah, to live harmoniously and to, as a response, right, to the threats of secularism, right, secularism that uh, brings by the phenomena of globalization, all right, and this new world order. Although the world religions have their own distinctive attributes and major theological differences, the the religionists can work actually can work together in several common areas of concern. Okay, so therefore, for him, it is better to have this, okay, different religions, uh, but not uh, but not the dominancy of secularism. Okay, because the religionists, okay, he used the word religionists, not theologians. Okay? The religionists can work together in several common areas of concern, such as the eradication of corruption, money politics, because most religion do not support, okay, corruption, abuse of power, drug abuse. Okay, I think I never came across any religion that ask us to do drug. Okay, AIDS epidemic, materialistic greed. All right, so we can see many similarities that we have among different religions. Okay, that against this racism, communalism, hedonism, social ills, and environmental degradation. Even though yes, we have differences, but we can see, okay, areas that we may share together. In some of these areas, we feel Muslim communities can and should benefit from the experiences and positive contributions of some non-Muslim groups and organizations. So again, we Muslim actually we can take anything that is good, okay, even though it is come from non-Muslim groups, right? As long as it is not uh, in contradiction with our teachings, Islamic teachings. All right. In part two, okay, the second part, we discuss the implications of globalization. Okay. So in part two, he dwelt further into the phenomena of globalization. Okay, meaning to say the liberal market system, the dominant capitalist system, right? Particularly the negative aspects of the phenomenon, okay, on the Malaysian Muslims, which are made up mainly of the Malay ethnic group. How the globalization phenomenon affected the Malaysian Muslims at that time. All right, perhaps it is still relevant until today. We may see it later, right? When we discuss chapter part 2. It is our conviction that for the Malays to be able to take full advantage of the positive aspects of globalization and withstand the impact of its negative elements, they have to undergo a major paradigm shift or change of mindsets. All right, meaning to say, according to Almarhum, in order to face new global phenomena, right, we, especially the Malay Muslims, we must have this major paradigm shift. Okay, we have to change our mindset in order to uh, if not change the system, perhaps if not change, we at least we can get full advantage of its positive aspects, right? If they remain complacent or are not serious in undergoing self-transformation, they have only themselves to blame if they are later overwhelmed by the wave of globalization. So if we are simply, okay, remain complacent, comfortable, do not care about whatever happened around us, okay, so according to him, we will, okay, we have only ourselves to blame, all right? If later we are overwhelmed by this new wave, okay, new culture, for example, new uh, politics, new ideologies, okay, brought by globalization. And in that particular chapter, which is chapter 5, we wish to emphasize to our Muslim as well as non-Muslim audience that one feature of Islamic moderation is the courage to undertake self-criticism, or objective self-assessment of Muslim weaknesses and shortcomings. All right. So we, when we do Islamic moderation, we actually, okay, in other words, we will have the courage to do muhasabah, okay, to undertake self-criticism or objective self-assessment of our own weaknesses and shortcomings. Okay. In part 3, we focus our attention on what Islamic moderation means in today's context and the true meaning of jihad in light of the popular tendency to equate terrorism as Muslim jihad. So in part 3, from globalization, he will move towards defending, okay, the contestation on the concept of jihad, okay, by the Westerners. He will defend that, right? That actually for us Muslims, it is not a negative concept. It is not terrorism, all right? Hoping that the OIC, okay, the Organization of Islamic Conference under the current Secretary General, whom we know personally, so I don't know who was, I couldn't remember, right? Maybe perhaps from Malaysia, because Malaysia has been very active in OIC, would seriously undertake the self-reform that it sorely needs. So for him, OIC actually, okay, is badly needed for reform. We feel that the time is also right for all member states of the reform OIC to promote this concept of moderation, okay, the moderate path of Islam, the path of Ummah Wasat, a community in the middle or median position of justice and goodness. So meaning to say, middle in what? In what terms? Okay, middle in the middle when it comes to justice and goodness. Justice and goodness. Okay, that Allah most gracious intended to become witnesses unto mankind. So if we do this, then we will become a good example, right, for the whole mankind. So OIC must promote this wasatiyah according to Almarhum. So we have listed, after the discussion on the meaning of Islamic moderation and related concepts, what we consider in our humble estimation as the policies, strategies, and plans of actions that Muslim nations should undertake to implement the mission of Islamic moderation. All right. So we must have these strategies and plans of actions so that Muslim nations can implement this mission of Wasatiyah. The original essay was written in 2004 when we were serving as Malaysia's sole representative on the OIC. Oh, so Almarhum, he was there, all right? He was the Malaysia's representative, sole representative to the OIC. Okay? Commission of eminent persons to prepare for a comprehensive blueprint of Ummatic or Universal Islamic Community. Why he has to explain Ummatic means Universal Islamic Community? Because again, we have seen earlier that the book, okay, the audience, the targeted audience are for the non-Muslims. Okay, reform and the restructuring of OIC. So he was there to prepare this blueprint. Okay, blueprint of what? Of Ummatic reform and to restructure of the OIC itself. Okay, so we had the opportunity to present our proposals in the commission's meetings in Kuala Lumpur and Islamabad. So he presented the proposals. We believe that some of our humble proposals were well received by Muslim intellectuals associated with OIC. Okay? So he presented these ideas of moderation to the Muslim leaders and intellectuals. And they more or less, inshallah, accepted the ideas. Okay, at any rate, the special summit of the OIC held in December 2005 in Makkah al-Mukarramah gave special attention to the need for all Muslim countries and communities to practice the values and principles of Islamic moderation. Okay, so the summit conducted in 2005, the OIC summit in Makkah, managed to give special focus on the need for all Muslim countries, okay, the Ummah, to practice wasatiyah, okay, Islamic moderation. Thereafter, after that, many Muslim leaders began to talk about the need to emphasize on moderation as a universal Islamic discourse. All right, universal Islamic discourse, meaning to say it can also be applied, can also be taught to non-Muslims and to Westerners. As for the elaboration of the concept of Islamic moderation, or al-wasatiyah as it is called in Arabic, we have decided to refer mainly to the writings of Dr. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, a well-known Islamic scholar who resides in Qatar, who is widely regarded among Muslim scholars as one of the most authoritative contemporary experts on wasatiyah. All right, so he referred to the works of Al-Marhum Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, okay, in explaining moderation. So the last slide, okay, we have also highlighted the Singapore Muslim scholars' stand on Islamic moderation and compared that correct stand. So for him, the Singapore Muslims stance, the scholars stance on Islamic, on wasatiyah is the correct one. Okay, compared to the Indonesian Liberal Islamic Network, which is not correct, perhaps. Okay, we will see later, as a new challenge to mainstream Islamic thought and practice in Southeast Asia. Okay. The Indonesian Liberal Islamic Network actually produced this new challenge to the Southeast Asian Muslims. It is our sincere hope, okay, okay, last but not least, it is our sincere hope that this book will contribute to a better understanding of what moderation means from the Islamic perspective. A moderation that remains faithful to the true teachings of Islam, which gives a proper place for a peaceful coexistence between Muslims and peoples of other religions, civilizational dialogue, and interreligious understanding, and cooperation on social, moral, or environmental issues. So he hoped that this book will become the means for us to understand more about moderation, which has enabled, okay, this concept has enables us, as we have seen earlier, enables us to live harmoniously with other people of other religion, races, and languages. All right, so that's it. Okay, I have read the whole introduction. Alhamdulillah, we managed to read. I think if I myself, sometimes it is quite difficult to have the stamina to read, okay, to read the whole introduction, for example, by myself. But when we do this, alhamdulillah, we managed to read, even though perhaps my understanding of it is not that uh, in depth. Okay, so yes, I'm open. The before that, have you managed to get the attendance link? Okay, I will share it again. Copy this. Okay, so anyone wants to share his or her thoughts? Maybe I have missed something. Maybe I explain it not that correct. All right. Uh, we have 38 of us here. If you want to share something, just unmute yourself and then just speak. Okay, 36. All right. So that's the I attend link. Okay, you will get the star point or CTD point, inshallah. All right. So this will continue. Okay, the book reading session will continue as I mentioned earlier. Sorry, I'm quite uh, stuttering in the first place, okay, during the early session, because I'm not that used to this kind of interface. All right, usually when I use Google Meet, I can see your face at the same time I can see the slides, right? So initially it was quite awkward. Okay, so alhamdulillah, I hope that I managed to explain uh, clearly, and I hope you can follow. Okay. Any thoughts? I saw many of my students here. Uh, Maybe you can add some. Adam, I think Adam is here. Adam by Haki.
Yes, Doctor.
Ah, is it okay? Do you have any addition to this part?
I think I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe because, as I mentioned, the context was during that time, all right, after
Yeah.
September 11. Okay, but maybe we can relate. We can relate to current context. Now we have the Palestinian issues again, all right, massacre here and there. We can see Al-Mahrum already, okay, constantly advocated, okay, for for the Palestinians, right? Okay, so inshallah, this is how we are going to do it. Today we discuss the moderation book, all right? Next week on Friday, my colleague, okay, Dr. Nurjannah, she's going to read the science book, Natural Sciences from the Islamic Perspective. All right. After that, afterwards, the next Friday, okay, the other Friday, I will read Almarhum's another book, okay, which is on corruption, okay, or the book in the red color, okay, in the cover page is red in color. All right. So after that, Dr. Jannah will come again and then will read the poem book, okay, the Salam Kasih book in Malay, but she will explain in English and also in Malay. And then only we will come back to this book, okay, the moderation book again. All right. Oh, we have something in the chat. Sorry, doctor, but I think the link is not working. Link is not working. Link is not working. Then how can I do it? Kak Lela mana? No, bukan. Link attendance. All of you, you cannot. Is it the same for all of you? The link, for the link, it is not working. Is it true for the others? Can you try? Adam, can you check in through the link?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, Alhamdulillah. So
Using I Taklim, right?
I attend.
Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah,
It works, right? It
yeah,
works.
yeah. It's work.
Okay. So maybe I don't know your name. K592 something, right? Sorry, doctor, but I think the link is not working. It is working, but never mind. Maybe we can try it again later. All right? Or you can come anytime to Centris. Do you know Centris? Just come to Centris and tell us that you came to the talk, and we can include your names. All right? Okay. Any other concerns? Anyone from Dr. Rabi'ah's class? Some of you from Dr. Rabi'ah's class, right? She told me that she wanted to send you to this session as a replacement class, okay? Because she has Viva next week. And this is much related. to your subject. If I'm not mistaken, Islamic Public Administration, right? Anyone from that class? Yeah, Shakira. Yeah, yeah, yes. She told me to share. She said that she will share the link. Okay, she said that she will share the link for your attendance today. But if you look at the WhatsApp, nothing. WhatsApp. Okay, never mind. When you meet Dr. Rabi'ah, just tell her that you came. Okay, for those of you who came, because I don't have the link for her, for her class. She said that she will share the link, okay, for your attendance for the Islamic Public Administration class. Okay. That's the QR code for the attendance for this session. All right. Okay. Any academics here? Any lecturers or people from outside? Or all of you are students from my class and Dr. Rabi'ah's class? Or all of you are students? Okay. So never mind. So I think this book again is a good addition to your existing knowledge. Okay. Because it is not that always for us to have the opportunity to read such a book. Okay. As I mentioned, sometimes we need to have good stamina to really read a book. All right. So you can perhaps relate this to the knowledge of, for example, Islamic public administration. All right. Why we should not, why we should practice moderation, for example, in administration. Okay. Why we should not practicing other matters, for example, racism mentioned by Almarhum just now. Why we should not do that. Okay. But again, why we should promote, why we should do dakwah on this concept, right? Explain to other people of other religions that actually we are not bad, okay? We are not terrorists, etc. Okay, so that's it. I think if there's nothing, then we can end, right, our session with Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for coming. Okay, inshallah come again next time. Oh, Syahmi also there.